Good morning. What's up, guys? Hope you're all having a good morning here so far. Market is open and we are ready to rock. Monday, baby. Let's go. So, as far as outlook here for the morning, here's what we got. Daily chart is what we're going to pay attention to kick off the week here. Bottom of your screen, that shows the New York session. Again, the daily chart. Okay? You can see that we've attempted a breakout. We were talking about this a lot last week, and now the daily bars are starting to slow. It looks that way, of course, because today's daily bar is open, but you can see we've had a couple of these days mixed in. Here, Friday was a bit of a slower day. Today, it's not like we're, gapping massively or anything to that degree. So what I'm considering here is I'm thinking, all right, the market really hasn't proved itself to be a trend market yet, so I'm not going to take big, irresponsible trend bets. I'm not going to be a clown and take big, massive 15-minute opening range breakout bets looking for 400 points. That's a ridiculous, out-of-context bet. So, head down, scalping until the market proves otherwise. Okay? We very well may see this here turn into this. Ideally not. I really does hope it, I do hope it turns into a trend. But we very well may just see this turn back into a range. You can see we're falling off the open here, so the market is kind of trying to take this back into the range. So we'll see what we get. In the meantime, head down and scalp. Brandon, Chris, good morning. Gates, how we doing? Nia Pennies, good morning. Tony, Joe, how we doing, guys? Good morning. All right. Well, big news here. So you guys know Take Profit Trader has been 30% off, no activation fee for months. It is now 40% off. Still no activation fee. We've seen 40% off before, but it was actually the inferior deal because you still had to pay an activation fee. A lot of people didn't realize that. With my code BIG, you get the best damn deal always. And this is 40% off. And when you pass, you don't pay an activation fee. Which again, you don't want to have to pay that because that's well over $100 and that's a surprise fee. If you use the code, you don't have to pay that when you pass. The only cost of the entire account is what you pay up front, which you also get 40% off on. So let's get in here. A couple of bull bars mixing in. I imagine that this sell-off here is probably going to just turn into a trading range. And again, plenty of opportunity here. Put our head down and scalp. Good day on Friday. We made 10.7K on Friday. Let's see what we can put together here today. By the way, institutional orders are clear, well clear by now, so I'm free to start taking trades as soon as the market gives us something here. So let's hit it, man. Let's start off the week hot. As far as news today, by the way, we have a Fed speaker here in about 9 minutes, 8.5 minutes. There's a White House press briefing at noon. This is Central Time. Another Fed speaker also at noon, and then Trump is signing some executive orders at 1:30. That's really it as far as scheduled news here today. Taz, Peter, Dominic, good morning. Lurt, how we doing? Eric, what's up? By the way, here, one little reversal bar closing inside of these previous bars. See how we've had this since the open? Below, 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 below. One bull bar closing above, like for example, this one has 2 minutes, 25 seconds left. If we could see a close above 8:30 out of this bear, out of this, what would be a bull bar in that case, I would get long, risk the curl. That curl would only, that risk really would be less than 40 points. And I'd look for a push back up in to at least the 20 EMA here on the 5. That is idea number 1 on the day. These ideas just come naturally the longer you do this. Taz passed 3 accounts on Friday. Does that take profit or Apex, Taz? All right, minute 12 seconds left here on this 5-minute bar. Let's see if we can get that close, and then I'll slap on a scalp. You're looking at a 5-minute chart right now, by the way. I'm going to keep hitting the 5-minute chart for now. If you look up top here, top left, also the 5-minute chart, just a different look. Top right is the 2-minute chart, which I will happily execute off of as well if it comes to that. And then again, bottom there is the daily, just showing the New York sessions. Well, there's the rollover of that 5-minute bar. Nothing there yet. A consecutive bull bar here closing above the previous bar is wick high. There's the next idea for you, at least for me. Patel, good morning. How we doing? Looks like we might get a clean close here. Still a few minutes left on this 5-minute bar. The 2-minute is looking half decent. Though I gotta tell you, the 20 EMA on the 5-minute is a thought. But you know what? As long as there's at least, I'd say, 20 points of room, I'll slap that thing on. Gotta get a good close, though. Chris, good morning. How we doing? All right, we got 1:20 left here. You guys know my drill here. Decent close out of the bulls. And I'll hit it. Now again, don't be a weirdo who thinks you're 100% right. What's the bear argument here? Descending channel. Half decent bear argument. Okay? If something fits your plan, slap it on, but you gotta understand, there's another side to your trade. Every once in a while, I get someone talking big like, man, that's an obvious short, man. Obviously, that's a short. It's like, tell me you don't understand the math. All right, let's see what we get here out of the close. Ooh, bit of a pullback there out of the... Not too bad. All right, I'll buy that and get long. I will risk the curl, and we'll see if that does turn into a little descending channel. There you go, there's a pop. That put us about 13 points in the money at one point, 14 points in the money. Pulling on back now. See if we can get some real follow through. Ideally, I just want to see this break this wick high here. That'll push us into the 5-minute 20 EMA. From there, I'm cool. Come on, Bulls, get up through the 30. The 30s, that range. Get a few comments here out of the Fed's Bostic. Not worried too much about Fed comments unless they drop a tariff bomb. Well, the Bulls made a test here. Again, this is the wick that I'm really looking at here. That's starting to meet with the 20 EMA. I'd probably take this baby off kind of right in between on the break of that wick. If I have room. Chris, good morning. Well, at best so far on this trade, we've been about 15 points. 15 and a half points-ish. Yeah, about 15 points. In the money. Not enough. Not good enough for me. Come on, Bulls. Take that little wick. See, it's struggling up top. Right around 22,840. It's a relatively neutral close. All right, now that 20 EMA is starting to suck down and meet right at this wick high. that I'm interested in. It's all right where it sits right now. That's coming into the 20 EMA. Just looking for a little extra. 3 ticks through that wick that we've been talking about. Little pop. Little pop. Listen, those 2 or 3 points, that can be a difference maker. Long term, you go down that slippery slope. I'm just going to take it, man. I'm just going to take it early. There we go. You get on that slope, that can start, you know, that can cause some problems for you. Long term, you start giving up 5 points on every single winner. Then you start giving up 8 points, then you start giving up 11 points. Okay, 1 scalp in the books. We are now up first trade of the day. This is where we sit so far. Let's keep going, see what we can hit. All right, we got 2 minutes, 26 seconds left here on this 5-minute bar. Now, if this closes above that 20 EMA on the 5, top left of your screen, all of a sudden that becomes pretty damn interesting. Two minutes. If you are just joining us, by the way, please press like on the stream. Helps us out tremendously. Appreciate you doing so. All right, we're 60 seconds out from the closer of this 5-minute bar. You got that 20 EMA causing some issues here. You know that the Bears are watching that. It's going to give them a glimmer of hope. I would have to get long again if the Bulls give us a nice close. Pretty much at the top of where that wick currently is on the 5-minute. Again, top left of your screen. Big wick back here. All right, roll over 5 seconds, see if we get it. Doesn't look like we're gonna. There's the rollover closing inside of the 20 and inside of this wick. No trade there for me, unfortunately. If this bar turns into a bull bar that closes above this wick, though, kind of above I'm sorry, 854. Then all of a sudden I'm getting long. Again. Again, like a lot of people, man. They come in and they're like, hey, I just trade the 15-minute opening range breakout. That's all I do. That's fine. I mean, in a trend market, that's cool, man. But listen, like, context is the name of the game. No one's teaching you this. I don't know why. It's just ridiculous. If you shorted the 15-minute opening range break, I mean, depending what your risk was, I suppose if you were risking the top of the range, looking to double the size of the range at least, you still have a prayer, right? Maybe this fades. But it's a range market. It has not proved itself to be a trend market yet. You instantly got reversed on. For good reason, by the way. The context of the market did not support that setup. It's not just about the setup. It's about having the setups that you know produce edge in the right market environment for you. So you guys see, it's not like I'm rarely taking big, giant breakout setups the last 8 weeks. Prior to that, we were taking those quite a bit. Not lately. It's a range market, right? So usually with continuation trades lately, I'm waiting for a reversal, which is exactly what that scalp just was. This roll over here. On this close, roll over to this bar, bought. Okay, consecutive bull bars, nice little reversal candle. This closing outside of the previous bar's wick high. That's a reversal scalp for me in a range market like we're seeing. Now, in a hardcore trend market, this decision, I might actually sell that. But we're not in that market. Context. Please don't ignore that. You'll save yourself 2 to 3 years if you just accept that that's necessary right now. But I get it. It's not sexy. It's not fun. It's not easy. Diesel man, I passed my evaluation account, but been hesitant to activate it. I don't want to blow it. Failed 3 others in the past. Any tips on how to trade at 1 mini or 5 micros? Diesel man, trade 1 micro. 1 mini is huge. Huge. Way too big for most of these prop accounts. They are counting on you having an ego and saying, I'm going to trade 5 minis, or I'm going to trade 1 mini, because losers trade the micros. Okay, well, we made over 10,000 on Friday trading micros. So I don't know if that's necessarily true. You have to think, why do they let you trade 10 minis on an Apex 50K account? Because it's attractive. Because you're going to go, wow, if I traded 10 minis, if I just made, 50 points a day, wow, I can make a lot of money across 20 accounts. They're hoping you think that way. And then you lose 2 trades in a row and the account's gone. Show me a trader that won't lose 2 trades in a row. Show me a trader that won't lose 6 in a row. You guys have seen me lose a ton of trades in a row. I remember I had maybe 3-4 weeks ago, I lost like 3 trades in a row. And we had someone crying about it in chat. It's like, good Lord, brother, you don't get it. You're gonna lose 5 trades in a row. You're gonna lose 7 trades in a row and it's gonna suck really bad. Get over it, because you're also gonna win 12 in a row. That's how the data works out. That's how the stats work, right? And if you're trading 10 minis on a 50K account, man, you can't even afford to lose 2 in a row. The Fear and Greed Index, by the way, doesn't help us too much, but it's at 67. Indicating greed. I mean, I suppose being at all-time highs. But it's a slow grind, man. Yeah, you know, Diesel Man, first of all, it depends what account it is. Second of all, you got to do what works for you. Run the data. How many losses can you take in a row, and are you comfortable with that number before the account blows? And, you know, I think it's really important, by the way, when you're trading. I think you should start robotic. I made a video on this. I think it was the how to make your first 10,000 trading, which is not clickbait, by the way. It's math. Can't be argued with. I think it was that video. Everyone starts making discretionary calls. But you don't know what you're doing in the beginning. You don't know how the market operates. Right? I mean, if every beginner thinks they know what they're doing and every time they take a trade they're losing money, they're just hemorrhaging money over time, well, then you got to look at it and say, well, okay, what are other people seeing that I'm not seeing? Why are they making money and I'm losing, even though I feel like I understand the flow, the ebb and flow of the market? Because you got to look at every argument within a 5-minute bar, which is why it's so hard to trade like a 15-second chart or even a 1-minute chart on futures, because that's really fast to think about everything. Now, believe me, I trade a 1 minute on momentum stocks. There's a little bit less to think about, other than, is this stock in play? Is the spread okay? What's the share float? Those kind of things. But on futures, man, the probability, the best you're going to get, 70-30. 80 to 90% of the time, it's more like 60-40 as far as probability. So there's always another side. So you have to think the enemy side first, and then your supporting side, and say, do I still agree with my thesis? And if you do, boom, you take the trade, if everything makes sense. But that being said, I think you should start robotic. And as you start to maybe find break-even-ish or profitability, like you guys see, in this market condition, I'm not risking the same on every trade. I might risk I might risk $1,500 on a trade or $1,000 on a trade. And then on another trade, it might be a big swing, though less common in the range market, and I'm risking $8,500. Dynamic risk is really a big deal in trading. So, I mean, you know, listen, some trades don't require 40 points of risk. Other trades require 80. It's just the name of the game. Now, I think if you think you've made an assessment, you think the trades are of equal quality, but one requires 80 points of risk, one requires 20, but you think the quality is the same, you can change your volume to make the dollar amount risk the same. That's also very smart. Muhammad, what's up, brother? We're trading NQ. Technically, we're trading MNQ, but we're trading 50-ish, about 50 contracts, micros, which is equivalent to about 5 minis, but we're copy trading it across a bunch of accounts. All right, let's see what we get here as far as a close. $30 seconds. We get to close beneath this wick here. Pretty much below 18. In the next 10 seconds here, I'm selling short. If we don't, I'm not. That's what I'm doing. Wick up out of the bulls, can't do it. All right, back in a couple minutes. We are back. All right, well, we're entering a bit of a trading range here. Yeah, I mean, you can see. Attempt at a bull channel, lower low. Attempt at a bull channel, lower high, trading range. Trading range, trading range. One scalp in so far, that's where we sit across the accounts. One sec. Look at the 2-minute up top here. To me, you know, this is really kind of what I'm looking at right now. Now, if we see this break, things change a little bit. But if we saw this break and the bear bar closes beneath this wick low, all of a sudden the hard decision becomes, okay, stop hunting the low here or buy the bear close for a trading range reversion. For me, given that scenario, I think I would sell the rollover for the stop hunt, take it off on the stop hunt, and then look for a range reversion. For me, I think that's what makes the most sense. We got a minute 40 left here on this 5-minute bar. Let's see how this closes. All right, we got 20 seconds here. Kind of a tall order, but if I could see a close beneath 807, I gotta get short for the stop hunt. Yeah, bulls are gonna hold it inside of that little wedge. Yeah, Dominic, I mean, this is what I'm always saying. Take profit approves ridiculous. Yeah, once they approve it, you press proceed, you send it to your bank, and it's in your bank account before you even open the app most of the time. Or you even have time to open the app, I should say. Yep. Again, this is why I think the best strategy, if you're trying to bootstrap a trading career, I think the best strategy here is to start with take profits, start taking payouts as often as you can, because you can take payouts daily with them if you're making money. It goes to your bank. It's there. It's your money immediately. And then when it's time to scale, then go to Apex. Take profit only lets you go to 5 accounts, but with daily payouts, you can make more than enough for most people to trade full-time. Way more than enough. Then you scale with Apex, who lets you go to 20. That's the way to do it if you're trying to bootstrap it. Yeah, Scott, the new deal at Take Profit is it was 30% off and no activation fee. Now it's 40% off. Still no activation fee. Which is obviously a sweet deal. All right, 2 minutes, 10 seconds left here on the 5 minute. Here, take a look at the 2 minute. You can see we're pressing this wedge, which also happens to be almost exactly the 20 EMA on the 5 minute. I gotta tell you though, I'm not interested in getting long here unless we're able to clear this wick high. But we're 90 seconds out. Let's see how we close here on this 5 minute. If we close near the top of this channel, but still inside of this wick high here, I would actually sell a strong bull close. And then if we pop up through, I'd cut it probably on this break. Just because we're in such a tough channel, little wedge right now. Yeah, man, Take Profit's making a lot of improvements. They have gone from being my favorite to very much so my favorite. And don't get me wrong, man, Apex, a lot of people get down on Apex. You're breaking the rules. If you just follow their trading rules, Apex pays. They pay. I have never once had an issue with getting paid with Apex. But Take Profit has to be my favorite because I think it's the best one that allows people to actually bootstrap this. Whereas with Apex, you know, you have to trade a certain amount of days, and then when you request the payout, it does take time for Apex to get the money into your bank account. It takes some time, but they pay. It eventually comes through. But with Take Profit, man, and by the way, Apex is fantastic to scale big. But I get it. Most people are working jobs. Okay, and you need money coming into the bank first to bootstrap a trading career. And the best way to do that is the daily payouts. And with Take Profit removing even more rules, being more and more attractive, offering 40% off now instead of 30 with the same no activation fee, it's getting kind of crazy as far as how good that is. Neil, would you discuss your perspective on when to take payouts from Apex accounts and the minimum buffer to keep for ongoing payouts? My philosophy with Apex, which so many people, they just try to beat the payout record and then they lose, you know, $500,000 of their money in one day because they go on tilt. Listen, with Apex, the way that I think about this is just trade intraday. Don't worry too much about payouts like while you're trading. Like what I mean by that is don't be sitting there staring at your, you know, Rhythmic account or whatever and be like, okay, I'm over the payout buffer, I'm gonna stop. Just take good trades, good trades, good trades, and at the end of the day, check. And if it's like, oh shit, I can take a max payout. Take the money. Take the money. You guys, a lot of you guys are struggling to even get a payout. When the money's there, man, take the money. You've covered the cost of multiple accounts with one even minimum payout. Just take it. And by the way, you don't need to be at a max payout to take the money. If you can take 700 bucks, man, I think most people should just take it. I think too many people are, you know what the problem is here? The real issue? By the way, we got 90 seconds left here. The real issue here is that everybody's like, I need to build my buffer. Why? You know the answer? Because they want to trade too big. Because they're scared. Because they're trading too fucking big. Size down, trade micros, trade smaller, take your good setups, scale the accounts horizontally, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40 prop accounts. Trade small in each account, and the payouts compound. Just take the payouts as they come. Yeah, well, everyone wants to be rich yesterday, and then, you'll never get rich. You'll end up a gambling addict, which is not a cool story. It's a lame-ass weak story, if you ask me. 30 seconds out! By the way, you don't get rich on one payout. Even if you break the record, it's like, oh my god, I took $1 million payout. I don't even know what the record is. It's like $1.5 million or $2 million bucks, whatever the payout record is. You pay taxes. You buy a house, you buy a car, and it's fucking gone. It's not enough. You get rich over time taking good trades every day. You don't get rich on one payout, even if you break the record, dude. Money doesn't go that far. Alright, we're getting a lot of kind of ugly closes inside of this range here, this little wedge. It's tightening down, tightening down. Yeah, Dominic, I don't think we need to, man. If you want to build cushion and size up, be my guest, but it's your money. If you can take a payout on it, it's your money. Take it. Get it in your account, man. With prop, I really think you should be shooting for consistency, not big giant home runs. No, I understand. I understand. Yeah, well, listen, no one, I get it. I get it. I get it. Been broke as hell. I'm just telling you, man, a lot of people talk that way. They're like, well, that's great, but I just need to pay some bills. It's like, okay, then go hit the slots and be like every other loser who's 70 years old hitting the slots as a complete fucking addict. Consistency, man. If you're shooting for a $3 million payout, there's an element of taking on massive, massive risk. With most of these big payout records, you know, they're taking on a little more risk than leads to consistent payouts. I mean, that's just right. I mean, you put 100 consistent traders up against 100 traders taking huge swings 50 separate times. Who's going to have the payout record? The ones taking the huge swings, but their expenses are also going to be really big. They're probably not going to be as consistent. I'm not saying, I don't even know who has the current payout record, but whoever has it, I'm not saying like they're not a consistent trader. I don't know. I have no idea. I'm just saying if you look at that, the payout record is probably going to get set by someone taking a lot of risk. And then even if you set that record, you take $3 million, you got $1.5 million after taxes. You know, I mean, you can't even really retire yet, and you're still not really a consistent trader, right? It's a problem. Wouldn't you rather be consistent and get a lot richer, a little bit slower, but with a higher probability of it actually happening? All right, still in this little wedge here, man. We got to adjust our 2-minute. Let's take a look. You know, I would actually call this a flat bottom at this point. Something like this. Draw this, something like that. That's what we're kind of looking at now. We are one trade in so far, one little scalp. This is where we currently set off that one trade. Just getting started here, though. Let's see what else we can grab. Market's got to give us something. What's up, Scott? How we doing? Still watching that wedge, you know, I have it drawn there on the 2 minute. Obviously, it's relevant on the 5 minute as well. 2 minute top right, 5 minute top left. You know, right now, I mean, if we could get a nice clean bull close at the top of that wedge, I would short a clean bull close. Yeah, Ryan, if anyone's telling you that, you know, oh man, you know, this kind of chart is going to make you way more money than candlesticks, they're fucking lost. They don't know what they're talking about. All it does is show you the same information in a different way. Tick charts, you want to use range charts, you want to use a different style of candle. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. If you have an edge, you have an edge. You're not going to magically come up with an edge because you're using a tick chart instead of a time-based chart. Like, seriously? This is insane to me that people think this or teach this. It's ridiculous. Use whatever fits your eyes the best. The edge is based on price action. It's not the kind of chart you're using. For example, me, I've just always looked at candles. I know how to read them without thinking about it. So I look at candlesticks. Okay, number 2, what time frame do I use? Well, it depends on the day, it depends on what I'm trading. Right now, on futures, a 5 minute's working well. The 2 minute also works well top right. Sometimes the 2 minute is a little too wicky and the setups are not as good quality. A 5 minute is a really good balance between quantity of setups and quality of setups. A 1 minute on futures is a little fast in my opinion and usually a little low quality, usually a little too wicky. Pick what you like. Doesn't matter. People make a ton of money trading all kinds of weird charts. It's not because they're using that chart. It's because they know what they're doing. Yeah, Scott, here. Bottom of your screen there, I get asked this all the time. All that is the ATR, which is the average true range. I have it set to 10, which is 10 bars on whatever time frame you're using. That's the teal line. So 22.44, that is the current average range based on the last 10 5-minute bars, and that's the average range of 1 bar. Okay, now the orange is literally just the range indicator laid on top of the same section. So what I'm doing is I'm comparing the range of the more recent bars to the average range of the last 10 bars. So I get an idea, is volatility increasing? Is it slowing down? Is it tanking off a cliff? It just gives you an idea volatility. It's not an indicator. It's basically just like almost like a heads-up data display. That's it. All right, we've got 60 seconds left here on this 5-minute bar. Yeah, it's been about 5 minutes since we had a headline from Bostic. All right, all right, we have 10 seconds left on this 5-minute chart. We look at that range, the wedge, I should say. We're kind of right at the top of the wedge. So let's see here. I'm going to get short, and I'm going to risk not all that much. I'm going to risk this curl and see if we can get a breakdown back into the range. If we end up stopping me out here, we get more information. I don't want to say a win-win because losing money is not ideal, obviously, but we get more information that, hey, you know, we are going to hold the break outside of the wedge, finally. I'll take the stop out in that case. That'll be fine. But right now, I'm going to take a bet that we head right back into the wedge, back toward the flat bottom, which is about here. So let's see if we can do that. And the risk here is only about 14 points. Not a lot. I could arguably risk this curl here. But I said it, we're going to leave it. So again, right now here, actually, I don't know if I can show you this yet because things are moving. I don't want to miss it. All right, let's show you quick. I'm betting against the breakout of this wedge. Okay? That's what I'm doing here. That's it. Just a scalp. If it stops me out here, we've taken out both these wick highs. We've pretty much broken that wedge up now, snapped that thing up. And I just want to get out. And then if we break this, then all of a sudden I'm looking to maybe get long. But right now, I think we're probably... Again, I mean, the bet here is that I think we're probably going to see a test of this flat bottom. I'm only giving it 14 points, though. So let's see if the Bears can step in and make this happen for me. Kind of tight. Testing that wick. Now, I technically, it would not be wrong for me to risk basically 855.25 right above this wick high. For me, though, I mean, if we do, we haven't yet, of course, but if we do snap up both of these wick highs, for me, I start to think, are we entering an ascending channel? And I want to be out regardless because I'm sitting short, right? But right now, again, just a bet that we're going to re-enter that little wedge. Let's see what happens here. We get stopped, we get a new idea regardless. ATR, by the way, is about 21. Not bad. Yeah, Joe. The market makers, man, they're stream sniping. They don't give a shit about. The thing is, the wedge has to break at some point. I'm just betting that it's not going to happen right now, because I just don't. It's a range market, you know? You only got to be right 60% of the time, 55% of the time. See if we can take out these two wicks. Come on, Bears, do it to him. Beautiful. We are out there. All right. So that's 2 scalps. We are 2 for 2 so far here today. That's where we sit. Slow and steady. Let's keep moving. So, listen, I don't want to be like the Monday morning quarterback, but, I mean, we did take the trade. Here's what I was looking at. So, I mean, you guys see this break, right? This is a 2-minute chart. I executed on the 5-minute, but you can see the same wedge on the 5-minute. Here's the 2-minute. We get this breakout attempt. It's just such an aggressive range market here today with a flat bottom. In my experience, flat bottoms tend to break about 55% of the time, and the ascending or descending level inside of a wedge tend to be about 45% of the time. So we get an attempted break up here in a range market with an aggressive wedge. I'll bet against it every time. In a range market. In a trend market, I would have bought that break. However, this wedge probably wouldn't have formed in a trend market regardless. But you guys get the idea. Yeah, Force, listen. Stay as dumb as you can. What kind of market is this? It's a range market, so you don't take breakout strategies, at least when they're not ridiculously obvious. If they're stupid obvious, you can trade a breakout if you want. But you got to look at every idea. Okay, hey, is this an ascending channel? I'm taking a breakout right at the ascending area of resistance. The bears are probably going to step in there. Right? You know, for example, that's not what we're seeing here, of course, but for example, so when we see an attempted breakout of a descending resistance in a range market with a really obvious wedge, I'll bet against that. Now, I very easily, by the way, could have gotten stopped up here. The market could have popped to 850 and then faded. It's part of the game, man. That doesn't mean don't manage your risk. Sometimes the timing's just slightly off, and that's okay, right? You only have to be right 55, 60% of the time. What's up, Scrumptious? Good to see you. All right, now we're testing that little flat bottom, right? See if this flat bottom here breaks. Of course, this is the flat bottom we're looking at. That's right, we got a small little break and a wick back inside of the range. Pretty typical. Listen, I mean, I think as long as you're managing risk well, like don't be risking 150 points to make 10, right? There's, you know, even if you're going negative reward to risk in a range market, man, that's fine. It's okay. You can make a lot of money trading negative reward to risk, assuming your probability is high, reasonably high. It's really helpful if you recognize, okay, this is a brutal range market right now. It could change in the next 45 minutes, but right now it's a brutal range market. I think a really easy rule of thumb, this sounds like an oversimplification, but I think this is more to just help you guys with mindset. Assume every breakout is going to fail. Okay, now, when you assume every breakout is going to fail, a lot of people will run with that, risk 80 points to make 8. You guys saw, that trade was very reasonable. That was a better than 1-to-1 reward to risk. And the probability was pretty good. You know, if I had to guess, maybe 60%. Take that every time. You know, now the breakout trade there, reward to risk was massive. Huge reward compared to risk, but probability was pretty low. That you're going to get a big breakout, like 50, 100 points, right? Pretty low probability considering we're in a range market. We're seeing a lot of reversals inside of this little wedge, right? Think of it that way. Now in a trend market, you got to assume the opposite. Assume that most reversals are going to fail. You're just joining us, appreciate you doing so. Please press like on the stream. Helps out tremendously. Nico, do you play poker? No, not really. Poker's, you know, I think I've never really been like a poker guy. My thing is I always just compare everything to trading and say, what's the better opportunity? Being not very much so a poker guy, I really hesitate to say trading is harder than poker. But like, I would think that that's a reasonable assessment. A little bit at least. I get it. Poker's very competitive. It's tough. But there's a problem with poker. Even if you're a fantastic poker player, and maybe you're able to kind of like trick opponents into getting you into games, there's the problem of getting into games. There needs to be money for you to get. The market, maybe it's a little tougher. I don't know. But it's always here. Like, the game is always available. Right? So, I mean, that's kind of the way I look at it. Like, you don't just think about, like, can you successfully make money? It's like, is the opportunity always going to be there to make money? You could say, well, the market, you know, AI might ruin things. I just fundamentally disagree with that. I don't think it's going to. I think AI is actually going to make these self-fulfilling prophecy setups more obvious. It might actually make it, quote unquote, a little easier to see follow-through on setups if you're good to begin with. Poker's hard though, man, because if you want to make a lot of money, you got to get into big games and then still have the edge. You know, the NASDAQ, it's a big game that's open 23/5. You know what I mean? Yeah, man, the risk management, it's the same thing. Same thing. You got to have an edge in poker. You use dynamic risk in poker. It's the same. A lot of poker players, if they dedicated themselves to trading, could probably be pretty damn good traders. And from what I understand, a lot of poker players eventually have to pivot anyway because they stop being able to get into games because word gets around that they're good and they'll steal your money. All right, we have 4 minutes left here on this 5-minute bar. Don't go anywhere. I'll be back before this bar closes, see if we can get a trade on it. All right. 60 seconds left here on this 5-minute bar. Let's see if we can get an entry. An entry for me here would look like if we could close pretty much right about here. I would buy the rollover, look for a press up here. Through the 20 EMA. Attempted break of the flat bottom. That would be a failed breakout, at least for now. And I would bet that we wouldn't see a retest. Of course we may. There's always a bear case to every bull trade, and vice versa. 30 seconds out. Really want to see it close, I'd say above 820. But, you know, not above 825, ideally. Limit order out, and we are filled. I will risk this curl. And see if we can get a push up through the 20 EMA. At least. Now again, what's the bear case here, right? I'm sitting long, so I want to think, what's the bear case? Which of course I already thought about before entering. The potential of a descending channel forming and just going lower, low, lower, low, lower, low until we break this. That occurs, fine, so be it. But for me right now, I'm looking to see if we can get a push up through the 20 EMA and maybe getting close to a retest of these two wicks. Again, just scalp mentality. What do you guys think here? Am I all set or am I taking on heat? That 20 EMA is in the way. That's okay for me right now. Of course, it's entirely possible that it rejects. Yeah, Clark's got some faith here. Yeah, Duo. Apex, Take Profit Trader Pro. Yep. Apex funded, of course. Nah, Joe, this doesn't go against it, man. They're both failed breakout bets. Yeah, I mean, not a great close there out of the Bears. You know, obviously a couple of bear cases here right now. I'm sorry, a couple of cases in general. You draw this. You could draw an aggressive level, though I'm not a big fan. Bulls are going to look at this. I don't want to confuse everybody, though, so we'll get rid of these. For me, it's very simple. We saw an attempted break of this flat bottom here. Attempted break. Bull reversal bar above the wick of the previous bar. If this fade stops us, that's a new low. Probably going to take out some stops down here in addition to that. Really an extra 5 points. I think if we break 8, we're probably good for a push down to 790. So I want to stop myself out as early as possible if that occurs. But, you know, right now, again, just a bet that that flat bottom break is going to fail. But we'll see. Taking on a little bit of heat right now, about 10 points. All right, back to break even on the trade here. Come on, Bulls. Give us a push up through that 20. You're on the 5. And I'd pull this right at 840 as we come in for a test of those previous wick highs. Nico, any midday algos you like to be aware of? The 350 algo? Usually, I like to try to avoid it if I can. Though if I'm in a trade where my take profit, stop loss are very wide, more like a swing trade, I'll ride it out with that 350 Eastern time algorithm. Oftentimes fades the current move, and then from there it's 50-50. All right, let's see if the Bulls can give us a push up toward 840. Expecting a little bit of hang up here at the 20 EMA. There's a couple points through. Need about 4 more points here. I'm not pulling it before 840. There we go, and we are out there. That right there is the daily goal. Locked up. And by the way, we are 3 for 3 so far today. We were 6 for 6 on Friday. And I had winners to end out the day Thursday too. So right now we're on like I think like a 12 trade winning streak. But there's the daily goal. I'm not done. I'm gonna keep rocking and rolling here. See what else we can get. But that's where we sit. 3 scalps so far on the day. We're up 5,300 bucks. Again, I'm not done on the day. We're gonna keep rocking and rolling. Don't let the streak get in your head. I don't even like to say it. Just because, man, I was just talking earlier. You're gonna have, you're gonna win 12 trades in a row sometimes. Sometimes you're gonna lose 5 trades in a row, 6 trades in a row. Just keep taking good trades. Make the best decision you can in the moment and let it ride. Damn, I say let it ride. Some of you guys are gonna run with that. So, this is spread out across Take Profit accounts, Apex accounts. Take Profit, best deal I've ever seen them run here today. They just switched this. It used to be 30% off no activation fee with code BIG. Now it is 40% off. Still no activation fee with code BIG. So again, Take Profit I think is the best way to start. Again, if you're trying to go full time, if you're working a job, whatever, daily payouts is huge. It helps you bootstrap the whole thing. Go full time as soon as you're profitable, pretty much. With those daily payouts, and then go to Apex and scale hard up to 20 accounts, 10, 15, 20 accounts with Apex, which by the way is 80% off single day pass. Same code BIG. Doesn't matter when you use it, it'll always give you the best deal at either. All right, we are testing, again, that's why I took this off here, because I imagine we're going to see a little bit of hang up here at these wick highs. Right around 841, these here. But if we can get a nice bull push up through there, I'll start looking at a potential bull little ascending channel. Though, have some work to do before that occurs. Yomar! Not sure what you're asking. Are you saying 1 day or 1 pay, as in you don't pay an activation fee? Take profit is 40% off, no activation fee when you pass. Apex is 80% off, single day pass. All right, let's see. You know, I imagine the Bulls are going to at least want to see a break here of these wick highs. And we'll see how we react there. This is very slowly turning into what looks to me like a flat top. Flat tops tend to at least attempt a break. And then this will either turn into a sideways channel if that does break, or it may as well turn into an ascending, very, very soft, more than likely bull channel. Either way, there's plenty of trades there to take, but right now I gotta wait to see if this, if we break through those wicks. Yeah, see that? You see that? Things are starting to expand a little bit. I think this wedge is going to get a little bit wider as we go. There's the attempted break, about 5 points. Immediate pushback out of the Bears. The Bears are going to short any pop through, at least immediately. From there now, we got to see where this goes. But there's the break of those wicks, like we talked about. There you go. See that push? See that push? I imagine we're going to see this turn into a little ascending channel now. That's what, if I had to make a discretionary call, that would be it. That in and of itself is not enough for a trade for me, but if we get a setup, then I got to put it on. You say, well, why don't you get long here? Because an ascending channel has an ascending resistance point, right? Seabass, do you short it all? Of course. We took... Oh shit, what did we do today? This is very typical of me. I have the shortest memory when it comes to trading ever, which I think is kind of a good thing, by the way. Last trade was a long. Trade before that was a short. Our first trade of the day today... Oh, it was a long. So yeah, I've taken 2 longs and 1 short today. We are 3 for 3 on the day at the daily goal, but we're not done. So... First trade, I bought this here. When this closed, I bought the open of this bar for a scalp push. I sold... I think I sold the close of this bar into this bar. Yeah, I think that's right. And then I bought the rollover from this bar to this bar. Yeah, you know, tubed out for a profitable options 0 to 7 DTE trader. Futures trading has to be much, like quote unquote easier. Yeah, listen, I think the way to do this, guys, is trade small cap momentum stocks that are in play if you want to, though you have to be very fast. If you're not a quick thinker, don't do that. Trade futures. Prop is a great opportunity. Who knows? In 5-10 years, it's still going to be around. I don't know. The opportunity's here right now, though. So quit thinking ahead 10 years. The opportunity's here now. Okay, try to make as much money. You know, some people, they're like, I'm not going to trade prop because I think it's going to get banned 4 years from now. It's like, dude, just go make some money. Just make money now. You need to make money now. Okay, the opportunity's here. Those 2 things, take revenue from that, drive it into the S&P long term, and then if you want to manage another portfolio, I highly encourage you managing a net sell options portfolio. Basically all net sell strategies with options so that you benefit from theta decay and IV crush. Takes 15 minutes a day to manage, and you can trade actively on top of that. That's like kind of an afterthought, but that can generate some consistent revenue for you as well. That's what originally let me go full time with not that much money. So that's what I would encourage you to do. Please say BTC. No, not a crypto guy. All right, let's see if we can, this wick high here is what I'm watching right now. 54. Nico, would you say that buying every month $300 to $400 of S&P over 20, 30 years is a good idea? Yeah, of course. Of course. I think a big mistake a lot of people make, though, is they just buy the S&P and they're like, that's cool. Listen, if you want to retire with, you know, a reasonable amount of money and be sort of comfortable, of course it's a great idea. But I cannot stand when everyone's like, you can't beat the market, just buy the S&P and work your job. It's like, do the math. Plan ahead 30 years. Do the math. Figure out exactly how much money you're probably going to have, give or take a little bit, at the end of those 30 years. Okay? Then determine. This is what everyone forgets to do, by the way. Please listen to this. I've said this a million times. Only a few people get what I'm saying. Adjust for inflation. You'll be a lot more broke than you think you are if you don't adjust for inflation in 30 years. Okay? And the fact that, you know, all these people say, don't day trade, just... Yes, most people should not day trade because they're doing so on Robinhood, buying whatever the hell goes up and then getting trapped. But if you're very serious about it, everyone who's like, don't day trade, they just aren't disciplined enough or smart enough. I hesitate to use the word smart enough because most people are smart enough to do this. They're not disciplined enough and persistent enough to make this work. That's why they tell you what to do. In my opinion, if you've never actually given day trading 10 to 15 years, you should not speak on it. That's just my opinion. It's ridiculous. It's very hard. That's why it pays so fucking well, because it's really hard. What I think you should do is buy the S&P, and then in the meantime, do everything in your power to make more money right now, so that you can just load into the S&P, load into short-term options, net sell strategies, not buying, not Wall Street bets, the opposite of Wall Street bets, and then use leftover money to pad your intraday trading. But try to make as much as you can from outside sources, pile it into everything else, and then in 30 to 40 years, you'll be sitting very, 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 very pretty. But you've got to make active income, a lot of it, as much as you possibly can. If you want to be like really pretty someday, sitting really, really well. Some people, they don't want to work that hard. That's cool. Take your earned income. Just, you know, if you get a raise every 5 years, that's great. Drive it into the S&P. And if you have, you know, $1 million, $1.5 million, $2 million bucks when you retire, you know, you're going to have to watch your pennies. But if that's what you choose, cool. I don't care what you do. I'm just saying if you're here to make as much as you possibly can, you need to be in the fucking trenches trying to make as much money as you can, being really active, and then also driving all that money into the S&P for the long term, as much as you possibly can. But I mean, yeah, listen, I don't want to be, you know, that guy, because I'll bet on America all day. I'll buy the S&P, of course. Yeah, Clinton, everyone knows. Fine, here. Disclaimer, don't do this, don't do that. Of course. I'm just telling you guys what I do. I think telling people to go out and be active and try to make as much money as they can, obviously, ethically, of course. If that's a bad thing, fucking whatever. That's a positive message, man. But a lot of people will tell you just, hey, buy the S&P, man. Don't waste your time with all this other stuff. They're calling you dumb, by the way. They're saying that you're not disciplined and you're stupid. Which I don't appreciate. And they themselves have not given this 10 to 15 years, so they should just shut up and stop telling you don't day trade, only buy the S&P. That's great. That's great. Look at the Japanese stock market. Yes, the US is not Japan, but it's possible. It is possible. Look at 2008. If you were about to retire in 2008, you could find yourself with how many years? Maybe how many decades if something crazier happens. Flat, actually down when you include inflation. Come on, man, it's possible. The market doesn't have to go up 8 to 10% every year. It does not have to do that at all. I think it's irresponsible to just say, close your eyes, don't try to earn more money, just buy the S&P. That's irresponsible as all hell. Buy the S&P. Buy long-term ETFs. But be in the trenches in the meantime. Yeah, Clinton, you know how people are. Of course. For everyone out there who says you should stop telling people to work hard to provide for their family and make as much money as they can and break the poverty cycle. For all you guys who are like, he said buy the S&P, and then it crashes, which is exactly what I'm warning you against. For all you guys, here's the disclaimer. There you go. For the rest of you, break the cycle. Make as much money as you can ethically. All right, ATR is, what are we at here? 1920 on the ATR on the 5 minute. Not too bad. Not too bad. We're sitting all right. Well, you guys remember that little ascending channel we were talking about? Let's see if we end up getting that. The 2 minute shows it pretty damn well. We are coming in for a test of what could end up being the backside of that ascending channel. We'll see if that holds up as support. Got to see a little bit more downside. That would also be the 5 minute 20 EMA, essentially. If you look here, top left of your screen is the 5 minute chart. Bouncing off that 5 minute 20 EMA, honestly, to see a true test, I mean, you could argue that this is a back test of that ascending channel, but I'm not a big fan in range markets when channels are really aggressive, like damn near vertical. Like if we had to draw this line here, we'd have to draw it like this. I don't like having to do that. It's a really aggressive level for a range market. But we'll see if that ends up breaking this high again. All right, there's the noon Eastern time rollover. Not too much volatility. All right, guys, well, we are 3 for 3 so far today. We hit the daily goal. We're at 5,300 bucks. I'm gonna do a little bit more trading this afternoon, maybe. We'll see how the price action is acting after lunch here. Heads up, Take Profit Trader is currently running the best deal that I've ever seen them run since I started using them. 40% off, no activation fee. So you get 40% off the rip, and then when you pass, you pay nothing. No activation fee at all if you use code BIG, B-I-G. Best deal always there. And of course at Apex, which is currently 80% off, single day pass. So you can pass the Apex evals in 1 day. All right, guys. Hey, appreciate you joining me. If you're not already, please subscribe to the channel. I'll see you tomorrow morning. We'll try to hit our 5K daily goal again. See you in the morning. Be patient. I'm going to hit lunch. When it comes to you, execute your plan. Don't be scared to execute when it comes, but be patient when it's not there yet. All right, guys. Have a good day.